in breaking inputs right now. The Supreme Court has directed that there will be no staking. However, has clarified that the order will not be applicable to encroachments on public road, footpaths, railway lines, water bodies. That there will be no demolition to take place in the country without any prior permission applicable to encroachments on public roads, footpaths, even railway lines and water bodies. But the big breaking news is that the Supreme Court has ordered that there will be no demolitions to take place till 1st of October. This was during a batch of pleas that the Supreme Court was hearing against bulldozer actions. The Supreme Court has passed this interim order now, announcing that no demolition to take place till 1st of October. Ananya Bhatnagar joins me with more inputs. Ananya, why the temporary paused directives to be formulated by the top court?
And definitely, the top court would be formulating a certain kind of a directive, and very clearly and categorically now it has stated that until its next order, there shall be no demolitions without seeking a leave of this court, which is without demolition can actually take place. However, such order would not be applicable for unauthorized construction on public streets, footpaths, and categorically the Supreme Court was really and it said that narrative is being built that what is this to in fact the various governments here, and very clearly matter has now been listed, and how would the Supreme Court be dealing with this particular issue.
Many to Ananya for bringing inputs. Tom, Samajwadi Party was also joining me on the phone line. फकरूल साहब, क्या कहना है आपका? सुप्रीम कोर्ट का आया है तो इस तरह के इलीगल डेमोलिशंस होते हैं, वो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन के ईथॉस या स्पिरिट
किया जा रहा है। जिस तरह से आप देखा होगा कि धमकी दी जाती थी, इस तरीके की सभी और जो जिस तरह करते थे, तो महिमा मंडल किया जा रहा है बुलडोजर एक्शन का बंद होना चाहिए। कर्मण कर रखा कार्यपालिका ने, न्यायपालिका के से भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सरकार और जिन जो में भाजपा की सरकारें हैं, उन सख्त संदेह के मुकदमा लिखने से किसी के कोई राजनीतिक हो जाने के कारण उसके घर बुलडोजर
जो गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया है उसका आर्ग्यूमेंट हमेशा ये रहा है कि वो स्टैट्यूटरी अथॉरिटी है और उनके हाथ इस तरह बांधे नहीं जा सकते हैं। जो भी इलीगल कंस्ट्रक्शंस होते हैं उनको वो डिमोलिश करते हैं, चाहे वो क्रिमिनल्स के घर क्यों ना हो, उनको नोटिफिकेशंस भी भेजे जाते हैं पहले से। तो इस बारे में आपका क्या कहना है? जब भी चाहे वो यूपी गवर्नमेंट हो, वो भी कहते हैं कि हम बहुत बार नोटिफाई भी करते हैं, तब भी हमें सुना नहीं जाता है।
देखिए, सच ये है कि भारतीय जनता पार्टी सरकार सोचती कि न्यायपालिका को गुमराह कर लेंगे। क्या न्यायपालिका को खबरों के माध्यम से, मीडिया के माध्यम से नहीं पता चलता कि कहाँ क्या हो, और फिर भारतीय जनता पार्टी के बयान होते हैं गिराया गया। एक तरफ आप जब न्यायपालिका में जाते हैं तो कहते हैं कि लीगल प्रोसीडिंग जो है, अगर कोई अतिक्रमण है या निश्चित के विपरीत ने घर बनाया है तो हम उसको नोटिस देते हैं, हम लीगल प्रोसीडिंग करते हैं। लेकिन वो लीगल प्रोसीडिंग कहाँ होती है? वो फाइलों में होती है। वो तब होती है जब किसी पे मुकदमा लिख दिया जाता है या कोई विरोधी हो। फाइलों बैक डेट में किस तरह से नोटिस होती है, किस तरीके से किसी को लीगल इलीगल कर देता है, वो किसी से छुपा नहीं है। सरकार के लिए बहुत बड़ा काम ही है। इसलिए वो पेपर वर्क पूरा करके न्यायालय जाते हैं, वो सोचते हैं कि न्यायालय को गुमराह कर लेंगे मीडिया के माध्यम से या सॉरी तो बताएंगे हम लीगल प्रोसीडिंग करते हैं। तो ये जो विरोधाभास है भारतीय जनता पार्टी का न्यायपालिका में और सार्वजनिक तरह से बयान देने में, उसको न्यायपालिका को गुमराह नहीं की। सबसे बड़ी क्या फैसला है, समाजवादी पार्टी इस फैसले की स्वागत करती है।
Ji Fakhrul Ji, thank you so much for speaking to us on CNN News 18. So that's the big news coming in right now. The Supreme Court putting a pause on all the bulldozer action. In fact, the Supreme Court had criticized the bulldozer action earlier, but now officially the Supreme Court pausing bulldozer actions and ordering that no demolition should take place without its permission. The Samajwadi Party welcoming this. We've already seen, a massive war of words between the Chief Minister and the Samajwadi Party Chief Akhilesh Yadav, both taking a swipe at each other. Udit Raj joins us for more on this. Mr. Raj, thanks so much for speaking to CNN News 18. Your initial reaction to the Supreme Court now saying that no demolition will take place without its permission, putting an absolute stop to this kind of bulldozer, justice that one would have called of how these buildings were demolished, of people who were, not actually convicted, who were accused of a crime.
I'm very happy to hear about such judgment. It could have come earlier. In fact, if the bulldozer policy continues, then what is the relevance of judiciary and then law in the country? So the chief minister, they are becoming, our officers, they are becoming law unto themselves. What does it mean that there is no democracy? That's why my leader Rahul Gandhi always said that institutions have been compromised. So I welcome this, and that erring cheaters, erring government officials who are bulldozing on Pikachu basis.
And they are?
They are bulldozing the houses, property on pick and choose basis. Very subjective also, but in any case it could not happen. What happened then? Then what is the relevance of judiciary?
So are you saying that this kind of action, this bulldozer justice that one was getting to see of how people accused of the crime having to get their houses demolished was a blatant contempt of the laws of the land?
Yes, of course. It's against the law and against the democracy, ethos of democracy. And entire procedure of judicial procedures are being skirted. That means that it's a feudalism. So the king gives the order to carry out. So not kingship.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us. So that's a big news coming in right now. The Supreme Court putting a pause, putting a stop on all these kind of bulldozer actions, saying that none of this will happen from now on and no demolition will take place without its permission. The opposition are welcoming this. In fact, the Supreme Court also saying that bulldozer justice is like bulldozing the laws of the land. They're also saying that this is a serious contempt of the laws of the land. Supreme Court of India condemning the practice of bulldozer justice, declaring it to be completely illegal, and now the Supreme Court putting a stop to this kind of justice being delivered. And in fact, it's not just restricted to Uttar Pradesh, taking cue from Uttar Pradesh. Several other state governments also started saying that how can one go and demolish people's homes when the person has not even been convicted for the crimes, and therefore hearing of was taking place against the bulldozer action. Supreme Court passing this interim order that no demolition will take place in the country without its permission. Ananya joins us now for the very latest on this. Ananya, this is a big one coming in of the laws of our land. What else has the Supreme Court said while putting a stop to this kind of bulldozer action?
That a bulldozer action cannot take place. In fact, demolition should not take place without permission and for demolition in the country, except for, in fact, unauthorized construction of at the footpath at the railway stations. Anything apart from that cannot be, done. No kind of a demolition can actually take place, is what the Supreme Court had to say very clearly. The Supreme Court had been really it wanted to create a pan-India guideline. In fact, the bench of Justice B.R. Gawai and, in fact, K.V. Vishwanathan passed this direction in a petition that challenged the alleged action of, in fact, bulldozer action. In fact, Solicitor General of India, Mr. Tushar Mehta, also raised objection to the court's order, saying that the hands of the statutory authorities cannot be tied in this manner. However, the bench refused, in fact, the came and said that, heavens won't fall if the demolitions could stop for 2 weeks. And it has asked, in fact, the Supreme Court, in fact, the authorities to actually stay their hands for the next 2 weeks. Now, the matter will now be heard on the 1st of October, and we'll get to know as to how it plans to pass a directive and to prepare a all-India direction.
Right, Ananya. Thanks so much for joining us. In some other